Hey guys, so today we're going to be learning about the basic structure of a story. Okay, this is what we call plot. Plot is the literary element that describes the structure of a story. Effectively, what happens in a story. That's the plot. And for every story, you're going to have a beginning of the plot, the exposition. You're going to have the rising action where things start happening. You meet the characters, you figure out what's going on. Then you're going to have the climax of the story in the middle, where things become really intense and there's some sort of conflict. After that, you're going to have the falling action where things slow down. And then you're going to have the end where the resolution occurs. This whole mountain is the plot. It's the description of the events in a story. In every story, you're also going to have a protagonist. The protagonist is the main character of a story. The protagonist is at the center of the plot. They usually make the decisions and they experience the consequences of the decisions. Sometimes a story will even be told from the protagonist's perspective. For every story, you'll also have a setting. This is both the time and the place where the story occurs. So in any given story, let's say we were writing a story about tomorrow in class. The setting would be both the time, September of 2020, and the place, Hampton Bays Middle School. That would be the setting of our story. Every story also has some type of conflict. This is the dramatic struggle between two forces or two people in a story. And without conflict, there really wouldn't be a story to begin with. There wouldn't be a plot because there would be nothing to say. It's the conflicts that creates the actions and the decisions and the consequences that make a story worth telling. All right, so sort of like we said earlier, plot has 5 basic components. The first component is the exposition. The exposition is the start of the story. It's the situation before the action starts. In the exposition, you'll usually learn who the characters are, you'll learn who the protagonist is, your main character. You'll learn what the setting is, the time and the place of the story, and what situation the characters are in. What are they going through? After that, you move into the rising action. This is where the conflict is revealed, or some type of crisis occurs that leads to the main climax. In the rising action, you'll learn more about the characters and who they are, and you'll learn about what problems exist between them. Maybe it's a friend group where there's a fight going on between two friends who don't like each other. Or maybe it's a science fiction novel where the end of the world is coming because the robots have taken over. Okay, these are all different types of conflicts that you'll learn about in the rising action. But then in the climax, this is the turning point. This is the most intense moment of the story. This is where the conflict really comes to a head. So if we know that the conflict in the story is that maybe the world's going to end because the robots have taken over, this would be the main fight scene between the robots and the humans. That's the climax. After the climax, you always have the falling action. This is what happens after that big fight scene, after that big intense moment. And then you have the resolution. This is the ending of the story. How is the conflict resolved? Did the robots win or did the humans win? And all the tying together of the story and what happens to the characters in the end.